Hi everyone, it's Erin. Hard to believe that the class is already over or coming to an end. Hope you enjoy this final project. My project is entitled Perfect Placement of Miss Lynch's Plants. I do have a lot of plants in my windowsill at school. It's something my students always ask me about. I just enjoy having them there to brighten up the classroom. So the problem they are faced with is that students are presented with the fact that Miss Lynch's classroom plants are not doing well. For this project, students will work in groups. They are given the choice of any of my plants. I have multiple different types. They will brainstorm and research factors that are important to their plant survival and share their findings on Padlet. As a class, we will discuss the factors that they come up with, which will then lead to hopefully coming to the conclusion of sunlight being one of the major factors in a plant's survival. As far as using the sensor tag goes, students will use the sensor tag to measure the light intensity in the classroom window in order to determine the best time of day for their plant to be in the sunlight. I typically have my blinds closed because we've had lots of drills as far as intruder drills and things like that, and I am not very good with the blinds in my classroom, so it's typically they're closed. I try and open them throughout the day for my plants. After collecting the data, students will create a graph of their choice to come to a conclusion. Students will share their conclusion with the class on Padlet. Taking a look here, here's the handout that I actually created for my students. Again, you'll see the problem they'll face. They get a place to put their plant choice. I've given them a part under the planning section to brainstorm with their friends or in their group members, things that they think automatically, those preconceptions that come to mind when they're given the problem, and then they'll get the chance to research and list 3 of the main findings and share them on Padlet. And then there's a little did you know section which leads on to whether they agree with that or not, and a table for them to record what their findings from the sensor tag and to create a bar graph there or digitally, and then for their conclusion they post that on Padlet. As far as the STEM practices go for this assignment, it is student directed, while later on I'll talk about it's also teacher guided. Of course, I give them the problem and things like that, but they do have some choice as far as which plant to choose and how the outcome comes along and what to research, those kinds of things. It's an open-ended question. It provides hands-on learning with a real-world situation. Definitely team collaboration. When I look at this project, I would probably give students jobs or let them come up with jobs for themselves within the group to ensure that everyone has a role and that it's okay to make mistakes. Sorry about that. Looking at the diagram to the right, I chose the separate science disciplines that incorporate other disciplines, as it is mainly science with just a little bit of math thrown in there as far as the data and creating graphs. As far as the tenets of inquiry goes, I believe that this project is a level 2 structured inquiry assignment where students investigate a teacher presented question through a prescribed procedure and students determine the outcome. It does provide active engagement and students are self-explaining and reasoning for themselves throughout the project, even though it's prompted by me. Again, a real-world application. Students are not given a lot of creative control. I would say I really would like to be able to come up with a level 3 or level 4 assignment. This one just didn't quite meet the mark. Students are not, or I just read that, this addresses student misconceptions that plants should be in direct light all day, and it builds a community of learners who collaborate, problem solve, and are not afraid to make mistakes. Looking at the continuum there, you'll see I was a little bit torn. It kind of fell in the middle there. I only chose a level 1 for part of it, even though I felt like it was pretty teacher guided, but then it moved on to learner self-directed in most parts. Trying it out, you'll see there's several plants that they had to choose from. I did a little bit of research because I chose the bonsai tree. Here you'll see pictures of the actual device, the sensor tag in the tree. This is just in a window at my house, and one screenshot of the sensor tag measuring the light intensity that the bonsai was receiving. I did have a ruler in there at one part, just at one point in case we wanted to mix it up and see as far as placement away from the window would, if that would affect the light intensity. And the results you'll see on my worksheet, and created the graph, and there wasn't very much variance in that window. It's a very large window and it was a partly cloudy day, so we didn't get very much variance, and I guess my results were inconclusive. Alrighty, thanks.